Electronics and IT. MeitY Startup Hub is the one which primarily focus is to work for the startup ecosystem and the technology-based startup ecosystem. So it's a independent business division. We call it under the MeitY, which primarily focus is to support the technology startup ecosystem across the country. On the similar note, when we say that to support the startup ecosystem, we support startup through various kind of initiative. Primarily, the scheme is the one vertical, different program is the another vertical. Starting from the grant and investment, we do support startup through our implementing agency, which we call the incubation and accelerator. We do host and organize different kind of capacity building program. We do have more than 500 plus mentor with us. And we do take startup the opportunity to engage with the different corporate and industry and academia to take their business further. All these things is being taken care through a digital engagement platform. So these are the four primary pillars where we are working. The first one is that obviously their scheme. There are 3 schemes which we have right now. It's a more than 1200 crore of the overall scheme which we are running right now. And these schemes primarily focus for the technology-based startups, starting from the emerging technology, deep technology, agri-tech, fintech, health tech. You can talk about any of the tech vertical of the startup ecosystem. We do take care of these startup through our primary scheme, which we run with help of our implementing agency, who are incubator and accelerator. We do provide startup support for the networking, that they can connect with each other as well as with the corporate to have a good business growth. We do host different demo days, investor connect program, so that startup will get the funding. We do organize different kind of innovation challenge program across the country for corporate, for government, or for the academia. So this is the current presence across the MeitY Startup Hub. Currently we have 3 schemes. One is by name of Tide, then the Samrid, and the recent one is by name of Genesis. As of now, not only through these 3 schemes, but also we do organize different joint program with corporate, and furthermore, we have supported more than 4,500 startups. We have right now, as of now, 500 plus mentor with us. These 160 incubation centers, which you can see, have presence over 27 states across India. We have 22 accelerators who are again present out of 17 different states, and 43 center of excellences, which are the sector specific, like related to the fintech, related to the quantum technology, related to the deep tech, or edtech, or different vertical, which are the niche. As you can see over the map, this is the actual presence of MeitY Startup Hub incubation partner, wherever we have the incubation center. The first scheme, which is by name of the Tide 2.0, with an outlay of almost 100 crore, we have 51 incubation center presence across India, and through this we are providing funding support up to 1.5 crore, like 180K US dollar. Out of these 51, the 60% of the incubation center are based out of the tier 2 and tier 3 cities. So the primarily focus of this Tide 2.0 is to support the technology-based startup. This is the oldest scheme which we are running right now. Then the second one is the by name of Samrid. So under the Samrid, this is one vertical ahead from what Tide was providing. We have a matching fund where we provide startup a grant of 40 lakh rupees. So this works like that: first startup has to raise funding from the external entity, and then we will able to provide them the matching fund grant from the government itself, based on their performance, because we also have to ensure that to the startups to whom we are providing the funding support, they are good enough to take these kind of grants or not. Under the Samrid itself, as you can see that for these startups to get funded, we hosted multiple demo days, so that they can have a good set of investors from across India. Last year also we organized a series of investor connect program. I'll be sharing the brief about that. Earlier we targeted that we will host across India 10 different investor connect program, where we will connecting these startups through investors. So out of these demo days, we have 200 plus investors who were engaged through different kind of workshop, demo days, and various program. Then parallelly, to support these startup, we also hosted the mentoring session, which is more than 300 across the India. These startups who were funded under this Samrid scheme were able to raise over 300 crore of the external fund. And these startup right now, the count has been increased, are able to generate more than 3,000 of the employment. This is only about the startup who are part of the Samrid scheme. That is around 120 startups who are part of this scheme. As on December 2023, what we did, that we did analysis of all these startups, that what about the current valuation. So for the startup to whom MeitY has funded, the last valuation till December 2023 was over 500 crore INR. That was in last December to whom we have funded. Now, so this is the most unique scheme and the recent one under the Ministry of Electronics and IT by name of Genesis. This is the first of its kind of a scheme by central government, where we do provide support to the startup, starting from the early stage, as we call the EIR, where we are providing 10 lakh rupees of the grant, and which goes up to the DeepTech, where we are providing 1 crore of the grant support. Also, this is the one of its kind of scheme by central government, which is only focused to the tier 2, tier 3 city based startup. What we are targeting in next 5 years, that through this scheme, we were able to support over 10,000 of technology based startups. We have primarily onboarded 65 incubation center as implementing partner, who are based out of 25 states of the country. Interestingly, as I said, all these 65 implementing partner are based out of the tier 2 and tier 3 city of the country. So we have the mandate of the scheme says it's a 490 crore of the overall scheme size. Mandate of the scheme says that this scheme will be primarily focused to the startup based out of the tier 2 and tier 3 cities. So no startup or incubation center based out of Delhi, Mumbai, Chennai, Kolkata, Hyderabad, Pune are qualified under this criteria. The call for application to onboard this startup is going to start very soon. So the first category, as I said, it's for the ideation stage. Second, it's a pilot funding support. How is this going to work? That suppose you are having a pilot order from any government or any corporate entity, and that order size is like 40 lakh rupees. You have to show that to us, you have to provide the proof of those pilot order, and based on that proof, we will able to fund you for those pilot testing. Third, as like said, the similar to the Samrid, it's an investment funding, which is matching grant again. So you have to raise the external funding first, then we will able to provide you the matching fund from our side. The fourth, to support DeepTech startup, we will have a provision of providing 1 CR, up to 1 CR of the grant support. Right. Talking about the overall journey, how MeitY Startup Hub is working right now, we have supported more than 5,000 startups. We have 175 startup to whom we have provided acceleration support. Out of these, over 70 are the women-led startup. Over 800 of the crore are the external fund which is raised by these startup as of now. Out of these, the matching fund which we have provided to the startup is over 120 CR. Overall, these startups have generated more than 7,000 employment, and also they have created over 260 of IP. Startups are obviously regularly getting awarded for their initiative and kind of support they are providing to the ecosystem. Adjoining to what we are doing under the MeitY Startup Hub, MeitY has a different vertical, which are somehow related to the technology as well as the innovation and the AI or startup ecosystem. Like you can see the recently launched India AI scheme, which is over the 10,300 crore. So this is again the 7th largest global scheme by any country for the AI ecosystem. Out of these 10,300 crore, more than 20% of the fund size is dedicated for the startup, like over 200 crore. So this is under the designing stage, that how the fund will go further for the startup who are into the AI ecosystem. Similarly, Bhashni is a different entity which is working for the language translation mission, and as of now, by the time when we have created this presentation, they were able to convert, real-time conversion can happen over 30 different languages. Suppose I am speaking in English, they can convert it instantly over the Malayali, Tamil, Telugu, any language right now. The other division which is like in limelight these days about India Semiconductor Mission, again, it's 76,000 crore of the fund size outlay which will be deployed over 5 years. Under this also, we have a vertical called C2S, Chip to Startup Program, where we are providing support to the startups who are working for the semiconductor industry. Recently, during the last month, we have shortlisted 12 startups and funded them of 131 CR as a grant. MyGov is a different entity which take care for all the initiative, whatever the government is doing, to promote, to support them. So they name the people who are promoting the ecosystem, whatever the government is doing, as a government Sati, kind of the user. So which is over 4.89 crore right now. They also host different kind of activities, program, challenge, that what is going across the India during the Independence Day, the similar kind of campaign, how much you know about the India, during the Diwali festival, how much you know about the Diwali, during the Jan 16, we used to celebrate Startup India Day. During the same month, they used to organize these kind of campaign, that how much you know about the Indian startup ecosystem. So this is about the engagement part as of now, like the primary engagement where we have. So from the corporate to government to the international, we work with all these kind of entity, and the final goal for these working with these partners is to provide support to the startup ecosystem. Moreover, it's a joint program, it's an international bilateral program, or the different kind of challenge for the different partners. These are the few of the example, like for example, the recent ongoing project with the Google, which we are running right now, Google for Startup, you might have heard about. So last 2 years, what we did that we organized this program called Google for Startup, Google App Scale Academy program. Under this, for each of the year, we supported 100 plus startups. So 2 year, 200 startups were supported under this program, those who were working into the app sector only. Once they complete the 100 days of the acceleration program, then we organized jointly with Google a demo days for these startups. These startups were able to raise over 350 CR during the demo days. So that is the kind of scale where we are providing support to the startup directly from the scheme, as well as through the partnership. With the Meta, what we did, that the startup, we shortlisted 25 startups into the XR technology, and through 6 months of the acceleration program, managed by the Meta itself, they also got a fund, a grant fund from the Meta, 25 lakh rupees to the each startup. Post the completion of the acceleration, they shortlisted 5 startups who were taken to the Silicon Valley for the ecosystem exposure. Right. So we jointly work with these kind of corporate for different kind of program, SDFC, HSBC, Gen Next. For the government, so like for example, with the BSF, with Bhumi hackathon. So BSF came to us seeking certain solution from the border area. So they have the problem statement that they would like to have certain technology which can detect tunnels nearby the border area. Second problem statement, they came to us that they would like to have develop certain technology which will work kind of anti-drone. So they can capture the drone who are passing nearby the border area. So we have finally shortlisted one startup called Gurutva, that was also praised by Honorable Prime Minister, and we did a field trial for their product, as well as that whatever they are doing, they have done so far. So based on that field trial also, that startup was shortlisted under this program and awarded with the office order from the BSF itself. Similarly with the SSB, IHMCL, it's an entity of Ministry of Road Transport. They came to us with the problem statement that they would like to have barrier-less toll gates. So they don't want any gate near any toll plaza and all those things. So we were able to provide the solution for IHMCL. As I quoted about the few of the major corporate program with Google, Meta, Samsung, as you can see in this image right now, which is like the startup called Gurutva, the device, which is the anti-drone gun, is being tested by Honorable Prime Minister. Coming to the few of the recent success stories, I'm not sure how many of you have heard about the startup called Agnikul Cosmos, which is not only the India's first private launch pad, but also it's a globally world's first rocket, which is utilized as a single piece of 3D printed design. So apart of ISRO, we have this startup called Agnikul Cosmos, which is again the MeitY supported startup. Right? So these are the few of the prominent startups to whom we have supported. Parking Mate is the recent one startup who received 10 million of funding right now. MindPeers, Fidelity, Spark Studio are the part of the Google program. The Krylo, Gen Onco, and Surabhi Agro is a part of the Sanction Solve for Tomorrow. The Surabhi also is the startup who were, you know, part of the Shark Tank program. So we have more than 20 startups who were part of the Shark Tank, and out of those, few of them also received the funding as well as. Right. As I was talking about these Investor Connect program, so generally what you can see into the investment sector, it generally happens that there are 5 investor and 20 or 30 or 50 startup who are going to pitch. But we have a different vertical here. Across, if you can see that what we did, that we have only 10 startup in one Investor Connect program, but against those 10 startup, we had minimum twice of the investors sitting on the demo days. So this is how we have facilitated. So these are the 8 demo days program which we did in the recent few of the month. So for 80 startup, we have 156 investors sitting there. Out of these 80 startup, 32 were able to raise the fund through these investors. So this is how we used to provide the platform for the startups, even though for the investor as well as that how they can get the good fit, good quality of the startups. In the next series of these Investor Connect program, what we are planning that earlier these were only, you can see that most of the metro cities are there. Now we are planning to go beyond metro cities, and for these kind of the Investor Connect program. These are the few of the glimpses about the Investor Connect program for the different locations you can see. The recent engagement, as we can see, similar to the Huddle event, we also promote our startup for national level of the event. Like not only national but also international level of the event. So during the Startup Mahakumbh, we have created a pavilion for over 50 startups who are participated. Everything is being taken care by us only. They don't have to pay any single penny to these kind of programs and the event. Startup Incubator Masterclass, we regularly organize as a capacity building program where we do nurture the startups as well as the incubator, that how they can run their incubation center, how this startup can perform well. So again, during this Startup Mahakumbh, we hosted this program. We invited 5 unicorn to be part of this Startup Masterclass. Whenever we try to host any kind of event or to participate in any kind of event, our primary focus is that what will be the learning, so that we try to have unicorn on board, so that the startups who are willing to become unicorn or would like to learn something, they must have a chance to get this opportunity, right? So before coming to this, which was like under the G20 presidency of India, I would like to show you one video, which was part of this India G20 presidency. Ministry of Electronics and IT was given a mandate to organize Digital Innovation Alliance. So we hosted this mega summit during last year. Can I have the video, please?
That belief that yes, we can do something really big, that is what is today's India. So I thank you all for joining this. I thank all the countries who have participated in this, and I thank all the participants for your excellent energy.
Today, using technology architected by startups and the innovation ecosystem in general, monies that go from the government meant for a citizen reach the citizen directly in their account without leakage, with absolute responsiveness and speed. That is the power of technology that India is now demonstrating and showcasing to the world.
We have set up our digital public platforms which have been open source, open architecture.
This was hosted during last year, and we used to showcase this because it was a part of the G20, and it's a digital innovation alliance. So the mandate for this digital innovation alliance was to provide support into the startup ecosystem, identifying the 6 different sectors catering the humanities problem from edtech, health tech, fintech, secure digital economy, circular economy, and cyber security. So how activity goes across that we ask all the G20 countries to nominate their top startup, one top startup in each of these sector. Plus we have 9 guest country. So every country nominated one startup from each these 6 sector. Once we had those startups, in India also we run this call for application. For selection of one startup from each ecosystem, we received more than 4,000 applications. It was, we have to select 6 startup. Again, overall, it's more than 100 startup. Globally startup we had for these 6 sector. And once all the startup got shortlisted, we hosted a virtual accelerated program. So Vibhu, my friend, is here. That virtual program is led by himself at a global. Just imagine the scenario that how much it will difficult to manage startup who are based out of over 20 countries to manage during one dedicated time slot for a virtual engagement. So this is the, what you can see the snippet here, the number here, that is only about single event. It's not about the series of event. We have over 15,000 of attendees. We have over 300 of international delegate. We have startup from the 23 countries. We have over 100 international startup pitching, going in physical mode at the venue. The whole Bengaluru Palace was acquired for 4 days by us only. All these 100 plus startup pitches were being hosted at a physical, at a real time scenario. The scoring was done at the same time, and post completion of the scoring, we have to announce 40 plus awards under these 6 sectors. We had over 60 speakers for this event, which is again not national but also international. We had over 50 plus investors who were part of our jury member. As I said, also we had over 200 of the exhibitors. So this is the scale of the event which you can see. Under this event also, the startup who were part of the MeitY were provided the opportunity for networking as well as to showcase their innovation without any financial engagement. So being an international platform, international engagement, these are the initiatives through which try to support the startup. So not only through the G20 DIA, but also we take that startup at international for as an international delegation. For example, that we have take the startup delegation for the VivaTech. So we took 25 startup from India, and we take those delegation for the VivaTech Paris to showcase their innovation. Now through this event, we are looking further to deepening support to the startup, especially obviously that first is the support to the startup through the schemes and program which we are running. We are also engaging with the different international cross-border global opportunity as a bilateral program for MeitY Startup Hub startups. We are also providing different ministry and different other government division as a policy advocacy and ecosystem building support. So that's all from my side. Looking forward for any question, please. Thank you. Any question from anyone, please? No question.
Now
Thank
the
you.
session is open for Q&A. Is there any questions? Is there any questions from anyone?
So when we can expect an investor connect in Kerala or Kochi from MeitY?
Next series of investor connect is yet to be planned. So right now what we are planning that we are going to the Thai Global Summit. Again, how it works that few of the program and engagement which we work with the partner. When I say partner, it's a corporate, government, or any entity partner, like for Google, for startup. These are programs which is open for all. On the other side, when we do organize these demo days, that initially what we did, that will be only limited to the startup who are MeitY funded or supported. So you have first get onboarded with us, and if your startup gets shortlisted under any of the MeitY supported program, you can be part of any of these initiatives. Not only the demo day, but also like the international delegation. So, and also we have opened this for startup for any city based for any space. Like for example, that you are based out of Trivandrum, and you would like to engage with the Chandigarh based incubation center who are part of the MeitY Startup Hub, you can apply. So if you get shortlisted to us, then we will be able to provide you the furthermore support. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Thank you. Thank you so much.